Thanks for joining us. If there's anyone virtual. Again, my name is Sarah Emery. I'm the press officer for U.S. Snowboarding. I will introduce the gentleman up here this evening by name and giving them a short question. Once I'm done introducing everyone, I'll open it up to the floor. Again, a reminder for those of you joining us, please come up to the front or to the microphone in the back to ask your question. Give us your name and your affiliation. So starting off here to my right, Lucas Foster from Telluride, Colorado. Lucas, first-time Olympian. Can you describe first what it felt like to qualify for Team USA, and then your first impressions of the Olympics so far?
Yeah, making this team was pretty crazy. We have such a talented field of riders in the U.S., so to make it, it was unreal. And to be in the Olympic Village, it's a really cool experience so far. I'm really impressed with how it's all put together, and I've been having a great time so far, and I'm really excited to get the contest going.
Thanks, Lucas. Chase Josey coming out of Haley, Idaho. This is your second Olympics, two-time Olympian. This being your second Olympics, can you talk about what you learned from your last go in Pyeongchang and what you're looking forward to here in Beijing?
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate that. It's been a really cool experience qualifying for my second Olympics this season, and to be joined by this team right here, it's an honor. I'm just trying to take in all the information and lessons I learned from my first cycle, and I think the biggest takeaway was just being comfortable with my riding and trying to be confident and be consistent and just trying to push the level with snowboarding and to be in the mix with everyone here. It's a really cool opportunity, and I think this cycle, it's going to be the best half-pipe showcase we've ever seen, and just a really cool experience to be a part of that. So excited.
Thanks, Chase. Shaun White coming out of San Diego, California. Shaun, 5-time Olympian, 3-time gold. Can you talk about what it means that you're here for your 5th Olympics and what kind of legacy you hope to leave on your sport?
Hi, thanks. Great question. For me, this has all had this amazing glow to every single decision, every single competition, because I've decided this will be my last Olympics. And with that, I've been giving it my all. There's been some ups and downs along the way to get here. But through all of that, I feel like I've gotten stronger, gotten better, and now I'm with these amazing teammates, and I'm just so excited about everything. Opening ceremony was incredible. The venue looks incredible. Just enjoying every single moment, and I don't know. I've done so much in the sport. I don't know, legacy to leave behind. I think I don't know. I hope my riding speaks for itself. I'm always trying to push and progress and do the next biggest thing, and try to pick up on what trends are happening within the sport and be ahead of that curve. And everyone's catching up. Incredibly talented riders out there, and I feel like I had a helping hand to inspire them. So, I'm just kind of enjoying every moment. So,
thanks, Shaun. Taylor Gold coming from Steamboat, Colorado. Taylor, 2-time Olympian. Your sister Ariel has a bronze from Pyeongchang, so snowboarding is definitely in your blood. Can you talk about what it took to qualify for Team USA this go around, and how you've grown both athletically and personally since your last go at the Olympics?
Yeah, qualifying for the U.S. team is always a huge challenge. The field is always really deep, and this year was no exception. And I was definitely grateful to make the team and have a couple good results out of the gate and feel secure. And I think, like Lucas said, just to be on this team is really difficult. So we're all just super stoked to be here. And then I think I had a pretty good knee injury after the 2014 Olympics. So I think since then I just have learned a lot about how to take care of my body and, eat right, and then compete a little bit more strategically, and then kind of tailor my riding more to what I find to be interesting. So yeah, just really excited to be out here with these boys.
Thanks, Taylor. Now we'll open it up to the floor for questions from the media.
We ready? Okay, thanks. Hey, Shaun, I was wondering if, you've had a couple weeks to go train. We saw you compete a few times, and it was a little up and down. So now that you kind of know where you are and where everybody else, what you've seen out there, like, what does a good Olympics look like to a guy who's won it a few times for this one?
Yeah. No, it's a great question, because that's been the biggest, is like, you want to see what your competitors are doing, and then if you can get a chance to train and to maybe either learn something more advanced, or at least catch up, or have a solid game plan. And that's kind of what I did. I had a training setup that I was really counting on that actually fell through. And so with that being said, there, plans, especially this season, it's been really difficult to follow these plans, but it didn't work out. And I ended up staying at another resort and training, but I still made the best of it. I got a lot done. And I'm feeling pretty confident about this competition. And, I have some runs in my head that I'd like to do. And it's all about just kind of like visualizing and then making that happen the day of. But there's still 3 days of practice coming up. Obviously we're like getting dialed in on the pipe and figuring out what we want to do for our runs. But I really have a idea in my head of what I'd like to put down. And as long as I can put that down, then I'm happy, and that's how I approach every competition is you got to be content with your own, riding and level. And as long as you can go out there and put down your best, hand, you lay it out there, and you can walk away with your head high. So that's kind of where I'm at.
And then just kind of as a follow-up to that, you're obviously, this is the last Olympics. There's been a lot of reminiscing, I think. I mean, do you have to shut that down, when to get to business? I mean, this is still a pretty serious sport you're in.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm like, I love having fun. I love training. I love being a part of it and reminiscing about old times and things like that. But I'm still incredibly competitive, and, any situation. I was reading I'm the Year of the Tiger, which is current right now, but I was reading my characteristics and my personality traits. Pretty spot on how competitive I am and how much I want to be in that limelight and do what I came here to do. So, I'm really kind of game face right now, and I know that either way though, and this is just with age and with time, like either way, leaving this Olympics, I'm so happy either way. Just to make it here, like everyone said, is such a feat. To enjoy this whole process is special. I mean, for my 5th time, like I'm pinching myself how lucky I am to be here still at this age. So that's where I'm at. But I'm excited. Like we said, practice starts tomorrow, so it's like, finally. We've been waiting around a couple days. I'm like, let's get to it. Yeah.
Rachel Axon from USA Today. Just wanted to clarify with you, Shaun. I know you've said this is your last Olympics, but is this your last snowboarding competition as well?
In my mind, I think I've decided this will be the last competition. Usually after the Olympics, I don't compete much after the games because it's just so much to get here. It's, so much pressure and so much weighing on you. And then finally that relief is so wanted and needed. And then I usually take the season after the Olympics off to just refocus and kind of get excited about things again, pick up all the pieces of the things I put aside for the Olympic run. But yeah, I think this will be my last, it will be my last competition, which is pretty special too.
I'm wondering, I guess 2 parts. What helped you arrive at that decision? What did you consider when making that decision? And then, you touched on it earlier. When you think about what you've contributed to snowboarding, how much has this competition in particular given you that platform to help you, impact your sport?
Yeah. Well, the first part, I was in Austria, and the pipe wasn't the best conditions. You guys remember that? We were like, it was a struggling time, and I was just there, and dealing with these little issues. I had this ankle issue, which prevented me from competing further at the Mammoth qualification, and I had this knee issue that I'd had surgery the summer before to correct, but I still had this lingering sort of effects, and I had injured my back working out randomly, which was the saddest injury because I didn't do anything. I like jumped from here to here, and all of a sudden my back went like to the side. I'm thinking, wow, like, is it age? Is it this? Is it that? It's like all these things aren't major things that brought me to this conclusion, but they're these little signs of like, well, I can't ride today because I have this hindrance, or, oh, tomorrow, it's this now, it's that now. All these little things adding up, and that's taking away from days of practice that I would normally have. And then I'm watching the tricks get heavier and heavier and certain things, and I actually was riding down from the half pipe because my ankle was hurt. I was going down, and I got lost because I don't remember the resort, and I had to take this chair back up, which I was very annoyed with because I just wanted to get home. And on that chairlift ride, it was like the mountain was closing. There's no one around, and I was watching kind of like the sun go down, and it just hit me. I was like, this is it. These are the signs. And it was like a very sad and surreal sort of moment, but then very, joyous as well, because I kind of reflected on all the things I've done and looked at that sunset going down and going, wow, well, like, next time I'm here, I won't be stressed about learning tricks. I won't be worried about some pending competition, something. I'll just purely be here to enjoy the resort, maybe check out other runs besides the half pipe for once. So it was really amazing. And, I broke down a little, got very emotional, and called friends and family, manager people, and kind of told them where I was at, and they all agreed and said, hey, beautiful run, and let's see this through and see what's next, But I definitely don't think I'll be leaving the sport anytime soon. I think the beautiful part about snowboarding is there's still a life to be had within the sport outside of competition. So many names that you don't see in the limelight as much. Travis Rice and all these guys that ride backcountry. There's rail riders, urban riders, all these people within the industry that still partake. So I'm excited for that next chapter.
Ursine, with OBS, I wondered, you mentioned the struggles that you've had in your career. When you went through those tough moments, what kept you going? And also, what made you want to come back here to compete in your 5th Olympics?
Yeah, I don't know. I think each moment has its own thing. I mean, I was in New Zealand and I took a horrible crash. I split my face open. I was in the hospital for, I want to say maybe 2 weeks, like with the bucket, like spitting up blood and trying to recover. And like, what am I going to do? I got qualified for the Olympics, in a month from now. And it was a pretty horrible time. And, that particular situation, I just knew, I was like, well, I don't want to let this all happen for nothing. Like, I'm going to see this through. And I did have doubts in my mind, and this really scared me, but it kind of, made clarity in my life where I was like, well, you're being tested right now. Like, how badly do you want this? Like, you got to push forward, you got to give up. There's two doors. What are you going to choose? And it really helped me clear that path. Other times it's been, Sochi, I felt like what I had was the winning run. I mean, I had some amazing tricks to put down, and I just didn't have the fight and the want to. I don't know, I lost something. And after that was all about finding that kind of, that drive again, that love for the sport, which is really difficult. It's all mental rather than physical. It's nice to go learn a new trick and be the best again, but this was like, well, I have the tricks, I need to get into it again. I need to feel something again. And so that was like that journey. So every time has a new sort of path and something like that. And then this particular time to the Olympics, I think it was, I was pursuing skateboarding. I was really excited about that. And it was the first time they'd ever done it. And things were getting a little, difficult and challenging with the competition series and where the events were. And it was just like a lot going on. And I had to make a decision. Well, if you pursue skateboarding, are you willing to give up on snowboarding? Because in my mind at this point in my career, kind of one or the other, and I just figured I wasn't done with snowboarding yet. And so I made that difficult switch, and then the pandemic hit. I was like, oh, wow, I guess I made, the right choice. And after that decision, it's just been incredible. Every step of the way has been like, that same feeling, that same love that I, refound and discovered again within the sport. I then carried that through into this Olympics. So I still have that, positive mindset and sort of things propelling me. And now that we talked about it's my last Olympics in competition, I should say, it's like everything's got this like kind of extra excitement to it. Oh, this is the last time I'll be doing this. This is the last time I'll be sitting with these guys. Last opening ceremony, all these things. So it's pretty heavy, but I'm enjoying it. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, cheers, brother.
Afternoon. I'm the Isha from China Media Group. So my questions still for Mr. White. We already know that you have huge number of fans in China, and they miss you so much, and they're so happy to see you and excited to see that you can come to China. So do you have anything that you want to say to them?
I would say ni hao. Thanks for the support. I really do love China. We've been doing, I have an event called the Air and Style, and it's been taking place actually at the Bird's Nest in Beijing. We had about a 9-year run or more out here. And every single time to see the excitement of the fans and the people and to watch the sport grow continuously over the years has been amazing. And to finally be here competing, and it's incredible. I love the food. I love everything. So, thanks for having me back.
Okay, sure. So yesterday you have been to the opening ceremony in Beijing, and I heard that you took the Chinese high-speed railway from Zhangjiakou to Beijing. So what's your impressions of that railway and the opening ceremony?
Yeah, no, it was great. I remember speaking with some fellow athletes, and we were talking about, every year we would come and in hopes and expectation that the train may be finished, and it was, almost done, and to finally see, the construction completed and to be on that train at the Olympics was incredible. I mean, the views from the windows passing by China was incredible, and then, the ceremony itself was so wonderful because, I think we'd all watched the Beijing Summer Games on television, and to be there front row. And obviously I've been to the Bird's Nest plenty of times, but this looked completely different, to have, so many athletes gathered and so much celebration. And I just loved what all the officials had to say. And that's truly why we're here, bringing sports to the masses and bringing people together. I loved it.
Thank you so much. So Beijing is your 5th Winter Olympics.
Yes.
What's your specific goals and expectations for the Beijing 2022?
The goals. The goal's been to just like squeeze every bit of, fun and excitement and joy out of this experience, from processing and getting all the gear to, I almost missed the bus last night because I was trading pins. I had to call Lucas to find the bus. I was still trading all my U.S. team pins and things, and so I'm having as much fun as I can. Obviously, now that the competition's beginning, I really want to, finish my career strong in a way, and on my own terms, and put down some solid runs. Like I mentioned earlier, if I could do that, I'll be very happy. But this won't be the last time I'm in China riding for sure. So.
Hi, I'm Synne from Norway. First, one question to Shaun. We have one of our biggest athletes, Markus Kleveland, is one of your competitors. What do you think about him and his driving?
Oh, he's great. I've always loved Norway, the people, the culture, and it's nice to see somebody really bring in the noise from there. And I'm excited to see his performance. I think we're all very excited to get in the halfpipe and see how it goes. But I wish him the best of luck.
And can you also how was you said that it's been a hard year. How has the last few months been for you with Corona and a late spot here? And also, I'm also wondering how was it for you to get Corona, considering your heart condition?
Yeah, no, it was pretty scary, honestly. I'd been so careful, I don't go out, I don't do anything. We had a chef come to the house to make food. We didn't go do anything, and somehow it got into the house. And I was fearful for myself. Obviously, I have a heart condition from when I was born, and I didn't know how COVID would affect my lungs, because anything respiratory is very concerning. And so I was kind of on standby to see how that went. Obviously, my focus was making the Olympic team and training and all the things, all the plans I had in motion. And once you're kind of humbled by the okay, I want to be healthy. Everybody that's healthy really wants everything, and anybody that's not well only wants to be well, And so it very, very put me in my place, and I was happy that my family members were okay. Everybody was okay, thankfully. So I feel like that was the biggest win of the season. And then, the late finish was pretty intimidating. I knew that I had a chance to, get a discretionary spot potentially from the Olympic team, but I really wanted to go to Switzerland and earn it, and I was frustrated because of the mammoth performance. I'd made finals, and I couldn't ride. I didn't want to injure myself and ruin that chance later. But what an event. Locks was so much fun, and I'm so happy that I went there and got to see the European fans, and, great time. So, but yeah. But every bad thing that happened along the way, there is a bunch of really positive things, and I think it's what I'm really focusing on. So,
last question. You have had a really long career. What are you most proud of, and what do you regret doing or not doing?
Yeah. Goodness. I think for me, I think the thing I'm the most proud of would be staying on top of a sport that's ever changing for as long as I have. It's almost like, fashion or something. It's like ever changing. You're trying to guess the trend of what's going to happen, and being on a finger on the pulse. And so that's been really challenging. And I'm so proud of that. And I would have to say the last Olympics, to be in a position where I was the last rider to go and one more run, and I'd never done that combination of tricks before, and just put it down to win. It's probably my legacy performance in such a pressure situation. So those things. And then I think the only thing I really regret is that I maybe hung up slopestyle too soon, because I love hitting jumps, and I know that they invented a new airbag right when I retired from that discipline. And I was like, why didn't this happen a year earlier? But I wish I would have been able to compete in that. But other than that, no real regrets. Things in life happen, and you learn from them and keep going, and that's what's gotten me here to this place. So I'm content. Thank you.
So we've got from remote Lorraine Morrison, teamusa.org. All of you, share your initial reactions to being on the ground. What are you most excited to experience at the Games, starting from Lucas on?
There's so many things that I'm excited for, but this halfpipe looks like it might be the best halfpipe ever built. So I'm looking forward to riding the halfpipe and competing and seeing what goes down. It's going to be possibly one of the best halfpipe events we'll ever see. So,
Chase.
Yeah, our initial reaction, just starting with landing in Beijing, was really cool. Flying in with the whole team on board was amazing, and processing is a whole experience too. And just jumping through the hoops with these guys is really cool. And we all got to cruise around the resort the last few days and get our eyes on the halfpipe before practice starts tomorrow. And that was just a crazy thing, like rolling around the corner, and you look up at the pipe and it looks like one of the world's largest pipes to date. I don't know what it is, but you look at it and it's so dished in the flat bottom, and that large transition is just going to make for one of the best competitions, in my opinion. And the whole venue with opening ceremonies last night was amazing, and getting to walk with Team USA, and just this whole experience is really amazing, and to be here is an honor. So thanks for having us.
Yeah, I would agree. I have to say, just being here has been just great. I was so content just flying in with everyone, and the mad dash at the airport to get our COVID tests and get our luggage and put it in what car and get where. And, we show up at 6 a.m. and we're like, well, we don't really go to bed. I guess it's breakfast time. And then, so we all went to get breakfast and just stayed up all day, kind of delirious from the jet lag. And then, finally settled to do, a couple days rest, get on the mountain, go to the opening ceremony. Like every step of the way has just been so rewarding. And I think that this is exactly what I had pictured and hoped for. And I'm so thankful that it's all kind of playing out how I've seen it. And now on to the best part, which would be competing, and we'll step out there and put our best foot forward, put out everything we have, and walk away. Yeah, it's cool.
I would say the team dynamic is really unique to the Olympics for us because, snowboarding is a very individual sport, and I think it's not often that we feel as much of like a community and a family as we do during the Olympics. And you going through all the steps, and including COVID, I think kind of brings everybody together, and it just has this really cool feel where you feel like you already won just being here.
Cool, thanks.
We'll take one more question from Rachel.
I'll open this up to all four of you guys. I'm wondering how much the triple cork was on your radar coming into the season. I don't think it was till like October-ish that kind of the word was filtering out of Switzerland about the Japanese riders doing it. And then once that kind of did come on the radar, how, if at all, did that affect your preparations, maybe trying to learn it or go back to learning it, any of you? Just what impact that had?
Yeah, I think we were all pretty blown away by the triple cork craziness in Switzerland. I remember seeing Ayumu Arano do the first one, and we just couldn't believe it. And then I think we saw 4 people try them, and I think they all landed them. But, there's triple corks, but there's other tricks that are being done that are just as impressive. Like Taylor's got the double chuck 1080, which is arguably just as difficult. Everyone's got their unique tricks that deserve just as much credit. But, yeah, the triple cork is very impressive, and anyone that has the guts to do that is an outstanding athlete. And, yeah, we'll be seeing a bunch of those and a lot of other cool maneuvers.
To me, I think the question mark of the triple cork kind of first started when Shaun first attempted a few of those leading into the 2014 games, right? And then fast forward to this fall in Saas-Fee when we saw the Japanese guys kind of just tee off on those tricks. And I kind of knew that moment was going to happen eventually. Like, the physical possibilities of that trick are possible, and we've seen it now. And it's just kind of been a moment of time and when it's going to happen and which pipe allows it. And I think the most difficult part for that trick is the mental preparation for that and the risk that you're taking going into such a difficult trick. We've actually been fortunate enough to train on the airbags in Crayons and Saas-Fee and Mount Hood, and yeah, I've actually attempted quite a few into the airbags. So it's definitely on my mind and my radar, but I've yet to put one down on snow. So it's just going to be probably a bit more training for me, but one day I would like to get one under my belt, and that's just going to be when the moment's right. And I don't know if that's going to be at this event or not, but it's just going to be a game time decision on when I unravel one of those bad boys. So we'll see. It's a pretty wild trick.
Yeah, I think it's on everybody's radar, especially now, that somebody's done it. You go, oh, wow, it is possible, or, oh, this is something to be looked at. Like was mentioned, I attempted it. Maybe I was the first to attempt it back in 2013, getting ready for the Sochi Olympics, and then a new trick was invented right in the midst of that. And I went, well, do I want to keep going down this road with the triple, or should I take it to the double 14? And the double 14, not to pat myself on the back, but I nailed it the first try I ever attempted it. And I was like, oh, okay. this sounds much better. Let's take the path of least resistance and pursue that. And, I don't know if I gave that trick enough respect. It's a very difficult trick. The rotation and the timing and the, where you have to do this, pivot in the air is really crucial to, completing that trick. And so it's actually given me a hard time over the years. And then obviously the triple has now become a very important trick to have. And it's something that I've definitely revisited, like we mentioned, into the airbag. But I just don't know if I'm as sprightly as I was in 2013. So I've, had times where it felt good. I've had times where it felt, incredibly difficult, or I was lost in the air, certain things. And so I really just started to focus on the rest of my run. But it's not something that I'm going to take off the table, but I definitely, it hasn't been my bread and butter this season. And what's wild and what we've kind of talked about up here is that it's a whole run, It's great to have the big heavy tricks, but if you can't put it with the rest of the run, it doesn't really, you need a whole set of cards to make a hand. It's not just having that one card. So, we haven't seen a triple win a competition this season. And, so yeah, it's kind of anybody's game right now. And I definitely know that people will be putting in very solid runs at the gate, and then the hammers will start falling. People will be trying their biggest and hardest tricks. And we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, the triple is definitely a trick apart from any other trick that we've seen done in the halfpipe. Just the risk that's involved. There's such a small margin of error with halfpipe. And with the tricks that have preceded this one, there's usually a way of getting out of it if it goes wrong. With this one, there's really no way of getting out of it. You kind of have to commit, and that involves, taking the speed, throwing it hard enough, going big enough. And with this trick, you have to go big just to try this trick. So I think it definitely carries a weight to it that we haven't really seen with anything else yet. And to Shaun's point, though, the whole run is really important, and that's what separates halfpipe, I think, from the other disciplines, is that combinations are super important, and they're also the thing that makes certain tricks hard that maybe a viewer might not quite understand in the same way as seeing a triple cork. So it's interesting, but I think there are other avenues to still put down something that's competitive.
We'll take one last quick question from the back.
German press agency, one more question to Mr. White. Thinking back to your childhood, could you ever imagine that you would have such a great career, and which headline would you give to it?
Oh, man. I was at this this seminar where they had you do an exercise like that where, picture you meet yourself as a child. And I pictured my elementary school where I, grew up attending class. And I remember if I would have pulled up into that parking lot and said hi to that kid, being, who I am today and what I've done in the sport. And I mean, at that point in my life, any school project I had was about snowboarding. I ate, slept, drank, breathed, everything was snowboarding. And so I don't know how many kids really aspire to be a cowboy and get to be a cowboy later. You want to be a musician, it really worked out. And at that young age, that's what I wanted more than anything. And to be walking in those shoes today is just incredible. It feels so amazing. And, I'm so proud. I don't know, headline, I don't know. Keep thinking seeing the kid and being like, we did it. It's like, all I could think about is like, we did it, it's incredible. So thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank you all for joining us this evening. I want to also thank all the staff, the volunteers, and the organizing committee here at Beijing 2022. And of course, thank you to these fine gentlemen, and best of luck this week.
Thanks.
Keep the chance. I'm gonna stay here until very end.